see. Okay, it says setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. All right, I think we are live, my friends. So hello and welcome to the first ever Autonomy case study series on Facebook Live. I'm your host, Sirish Kondabolu. I'm actually a doctor by training and one of the Autonomy coaches. But enough about me. I'm super excited to introduce our epic first guest, Chand Rathod, who's lost over 30 kgs under the guidance of his coach, Tom. And anyone who's lost the amount of weight that you've lost, Chand, and who's made the changes that you've made in your life is superhero status in our eyes. So I want to start the interview by asking you about what that first issue looks like in the Chund comic book. In other words, what is the Chund origin story, if you will?
Okay, so I'd say so I work in retail. I've done nearly 20 years in retail. Um, Waking up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, working until 6, 7 in the evening, um, eating very limited amount of food. And well, throughout the day, if I did eat anything, it would be baguette crisps, chocolate. It's just quick snacks because my job did involve on the shop floor, hands on. It's just relentless because it's retail.
Mm.
I used to have a daily rhythm and routine of coming home, having a big meal at about 7 o'clock, which will be a big, like, full carb meal to get my energy back. And then I used to always eat at about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night,
Wow.
go to sleep by midnight, and then back up in the morning again. Throughout the day, I was fueled by fizzy drinks, coffee, tea, and chocolates and crisps, I'll say, and a sandwich if I was able to squeeze it in throughout the day.
Wow. And are you single at this point, or are you what's the
No, so I've
on
got
that front?
so married with two kids, two girls.
Okay.
One's in high school and one's in primary school. Yeah,
Okay, so that's now, right?
yeah.
Okay. So like what were some of the major factors that led you to feel like you needed to make some changes to your health? What was driving that?
So the biggest change I would say was, so I've seen a few people use autonomy as well as other trainers, and I've seen the transformation in their body and in terms of their lifestyle. Um, the guys that I was speaking to that have gone through the process with autonomy um, were, singing praises, etc. And that was over a period of, I'd say, 3 to 6 months, where I could physically see the change in them,
Hmm.
not just physically, but in terms of the way they were in general, the spark that they had with
Yeah.
themselves. When I turned 40, which was nearly just over a year ago,
Amazing.
that's when I thought, wait a minute, I'm now 40 years old. I've done 20 years of just focusing on work and trying to move my career forward, which it has moved forward. But now it's a bit about family comes a bit first. So in terms of what do I need to give to my family? What do,
Hmm.
like, if for me to continue that day in, day out of really not focusing on myself, how long will I actually live, is
Right.
is is a big question that hit my head. um and that's when I started seeing Nathan on Instagram, and then I started seeing all the videos, all the posts. And then I think it was after the Christmas, And then in January, I thought, okay, look, I'm just gonna say yes to a post that Nathan has posted, and then I'll just have a meeting with him.
Yeah.
Um, and then that's where the journey really started. And it was I was never 100% committed to it when I first had that meeting with Nathan. Um, but then I thought, wait a minute, what have I got to lose? Okay, you're in a contract, but at the end of the day, whatever you do in life, you have to give some sort of commitment. And I said, okay, let's just go for it. See if it does really work, and see if I can do something different.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's how the journey really started for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was the thought process of just of wait a minute, what do I need to do for my family as well? I think that was the biggest hitter to say I'm getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I'm getting and I could feel just being unhealthy. I mean, even when I was walking up a um staircase, I was like, huffing and puffing. I wasn't able to walk enough. I wasn't able to, just there was no pace. The only pace I had was at work when I was on the shop floor getting stuff done. But when it came to a social life, it was really eat, sit on the sofa, and it was really just laziness that
Yeah.
kicked in my
Right.
life.
Right. So you're talking a lot about your family. So talk me through what those conversations were like, whether it was with your wife or kids or before making this decision. Were you having conversations with them at all regarding like having to, make this change in your life, or is this just something that you just dove in without speaking to them?
No, I think I must have had a conversation with my wife once regarding it, purely because I was like, "You're going to help me meal prep," because I don't know how to cook. I know how to cook basic food, the pasta, the boiled vegetables, just the basic food. And I was just like, look, if I'm gonna ensure that I'm successful through this process, I'm gonna need that support. Just helping me maintain that food. Um, and because I wasn't used to really eating in the morning or throughout the day, she was my driver to say, look, make sure you eat this, or make sure you take this to work, make sure you heat it up. There was a period, I'd say, of about 3 hours every Saturday. I used to be in the kitchen with her and really meal prepping for the week, because that was a massive thing in my life. That was the biggest change that I made in my life. And that would be my biggest driver of wait a minute, I did have that support mechanism, and
Yeah.
and and my wife was there throughout. Even with the kids, I mean, like, the kids knew that I was doing something different, because they could see that when I was dropping them to activities, for example, rather than jumping in the car and drive for 3 minutes, I'd say, "Oh no, wait a minute, guys, we're gonna walk," and they're like, "What? We're gonna walk?" And that was a massive change. Even if it was raining, I'd be like, "Yeah, we're walking," and they're like, "Yeah, but it's raining. We're gonna be soaked." I said, "No, we're walking." Like, it's that, and they could see that change. Especially in the first 2 weeks, where
Yeah.
every evening I used to come back from work, I would have my meal, and then I'll be out walking for 2 hours. They're like, "Daddy, where are you going? It's 9 p.m." And I'll be like, "Look, I'll be back. You go to bed, and I'll see you in the morning." But that changed. The kids definitely saw the difference in me. 100%
That's
saw the difference.
that's incredible. And you have two girls, you said?
Yeah, the girls. Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. I just had my first and she just turned a year old like, a week or two ago.
Fun
Um,
times, fun times.
yeah, yeah, totally. But it's interesting. There's all this new research coming out recently. There was some papers coming out of Ohio State University that was looking at basically the habits of parents as it relates to fitness and health and nutrition, and seeing how that affects like the modeling behavior of their kids. And one of the interesting findings that really struck me from that research was that the habits of the father their fitness habits and their nutrition habits had a statistically significant difference, even compared to the moms, for the daughters, and how much that they are actually, kind of absorbing this and seeing like, oh, dad is living this way. He's out there, he's being healthy, he's making good choices, he's making us walk to, school or our events. So how important is that to you, being a role model for your girls in this way?
Do you know, over my working career, I always thought, wait a minute, I have to work hard for my family to earn a living, to support them, to think about the future, etc. Um, and in my head, that was that was me being the best role model. And I guess that's the upbringing I've had through, through my parents as well, because they've worked really hard. My father's from Africa, my mother was from India. So in terms of them moving to this country and then working hard and making a house, moving house, bringing up three kids, I always felt as if, no, wait a minute, I'm going to have to work hard for my kids. And I do, and I did work hard, but I think this process, this whole thing about working hard, yep, everyone works hard. That could be from 2 hours a day, but you're still going to be working hard, or it could be 10 hours a day. Um, but I think this has allowed me to ensure that I spend time with the kids more as well, because
Yeah.
I've forced myself to change my behaviors to really. It could be a sit down, half an hour reading session with them, or whatever it is, but it 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 has definitely shown, or taught me ways of, wait a minute, these are things that I'm teaching my kids, and then in the future they're going to teach their kids, and it's going to pass on. So it's definitely for the positive in terms of what I've done, and the whole process I've been through, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's incredible, and when you start to look at like the math, I'm sure you've maybe come across this on social media, and it's hard to argue the fact that 90% of our in-person time with our kids is going to be by the time before they go to college, right? So by like, 18,
Yeah,
17, 18, and then you're just seeing them a few times a year right after that. So when you start to think about, okay, how long am I going to live, and times that by how many times a year that I'm going to see them, it's not really a long time that we have. This is such a
100%.
short trip, right? And then if your daughters, decide to have a family in the future, I'm a medical doctor by training, and modern medicine is allowing us to live longer and longer. So, our lifespans are increasing, but there's
Yeah,
this concept called the health span. How well are we living? So what good is living a long time if by the time, you're a grandfather, for, your daughter's kids, and you can't do anything with them? What good is living this long life? And those habits start right now. So the step that you took, at 40 to make a change in your life, um, your 80, 90-year-old self is thanking you right now. So, speaking of that, what would the new Chund say to the old Chund, the one that was, kind of hesitant, like maybe unsure of how to make a change? Like, what would you say to him if you were interviewing him like this right now?
I would have started this process a minimum of 10 years earlier. 100%, 100%. And I think, because I was because so straight after uni, I got into work, and I was so driven to progress within the professional world in terms of my career. Um, I there's a there's a saying of, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll start it next week, or I'll start it next month, or I'll start in January. That date never ever turned up for me. that date was, oh yeah, okay, I'll start doing I'll start I'll start drinking more water, for example, from next Monday, and I'll make sure that I'll have, the 8 glasses that they say, and that never happened
Hmm.
because my body and my mind were so used to the cravings of the fizzy drink, for example, the cravings of, the biscuits, and that's where I guess, you know, so I lived out for uni all so for 3.5, 4 years I lived out. And that was because I wasn't really great at cooking as well. That was a lot of eating out, that was a lot of snacky food, and I guess that then pushed me all the way through into my early 20s. But definitely, if I was going to speak to myself, then I'll say, wait a minute, I at the age of late 20s, I would have loved to go onto this process and then transform myself, because then 110% I know that I would have made a bigger difference to what I am at the moment. Um, yeah, but it's where I think when I hit 40, the biggest question was how long will I be living? Why this is my opportunity to now change.
Yeah.
And you know what, you hear stories of, you know young 40s, late 40s, early 50s, people passing away, and you think, wait a minute, this person was was fit, okay, or this person was overweight, for example, or this person used to drink too much, or this, and you think, wait a minute, what could they have done in their life to prevent this from happening? And those things, I mean, you see social media, you see it on Facebook, you see it on Insta, you see it everywhere. It's in any community that you visit, talk, wherever you see it. So those questions, I think will be on everyone's mind, but there is a trigger point that comes in individuals' head to say, yes, this is the time for me to make that change. And that was a time when I turned 40s to say, let me make that difference.
Yeah. No, 100%. What do you think has been the most challenging barrier for you to overcome and get to this point? Because 30 kilos is a lot. And on this side of the pond, when I do the math, it's like 70 pounds. That sounds like even more impressive. It's a large number. So couldn't have been easy. So I want to bring as much value to anybody watching this. Like, what were some of the things that you really had to get through, and kind of what advice could you give to people that are
Yeah.
maybe going through some of those similar things?
So I'd say I had three big challenges, and those, number one is it's the water intake. I used to drink a glass of water, like this was like a small glass of water a day for 20
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
because I used to survive on fizzy drinks. I used to survive on um energy drinks to get through the day, and then in the evening I would have a can of fizzy drink with my dinner. So that water concept nearly never happened. And there was a stage where when I first started this, I struggled to even drink a liter of water a day. And in my head, I was like, no, wait a minute, I have to keep pushing it. And like even now, sometimes when you drink too much water, all you're doing is just running to the toilet all the time. Um, but when I started drinking 2 liters, I was like, oh my god, I can't do this. This is like every hour I am running to the toilet. There was a so that was a huge mind shift change to say, if I'm gonna put a liquid in my mouth, water is gonna be the only liquid in my mouth. And I think I started off by having, I think, one coffee a day, um, just so that I'm not totally stopping my teas and coffees throughout the day. But I used to force myself to drink water. That was a big challenge. The next one was the whole walking element of it. So because I'm in retail, okay, you get the steps in at work, but there would be days where sometimes I used to get 8,000 steps in at work. I used to get 10,000 steps in at work. And coming home, you're like, yeah, okay, cool. I've only got to do another 4 or 5,000 to hit my target. But there's some days when you're in a meeting all day and you're doing 2,000 steps. I used to come home and I'm like, oh my God, I got to do 12,000 steps. So there was a phase on. So when I first started autonomy, I remember that I had a target of 20,000 steps per
A lot.
week, and I think I lasted 2 weeks in that max. I'd say 2 weeks, and then I had a conversation with Tom, and I said, Tom, I'm broken. Like I am. Like I can't do it. This is so difficult. And he goes, all right, Chan, let's rethink the plan. Let's now adapt to what it is. And then I dropped it down to about, I think it was 14 or 15,000 steps. That still was tough. It was really, really tough because I was slow at walking, and it was taking me a lot of time in the evening to get those steps in. But I think persistent. I was just, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And then because I got into the routine, I was okay in that. Um, and the third one is I've never eaten this much food throughout the day over the past 20 years. So I used to force myself to have that breakfast, to have that lunch, to have that snack, so that in the evening I'm not having the massive, massive meals that I
Hmm.
used to. So I think the weekend meal preps, I needed them, and it was so important for me to ensure that I've got my, 7 tubs in the fridge for the following 7 days. And sometimes I used to have 14 tubs in the fridge just so that I'm prepared for my lunch and my dinner. So I'm not messing about throughout the week because I was still putting the hours in at work. Um, but yeah, those are definitely my three. So water, steps, and my food. Those were my biggest challenges, and it was I had to change my lifestyle. I had to change what I was doing in the morning, the time I would spend in the kitchen in the morning to have my breakfast, um, the walks I used to do, and if even at work when I used to spend a couple of hours in the office. And if I had a meeting, I would purposely stop that meeting and say, all right, guys, give me 20 minutes and I'll be back. And within that 20 minutes, I'll get in a few hundred steps and then I'll go back into the meeting. But
That's
it
all.
was that it was totally, totally changing. Like, and like the guys at work saw a massive change in me because I mean they worked me they used to work me with me day in day out for years as well. So they were like, Chand, you're having lunch, you're actually sitting down and eating, like you're having an apple, like you never have an apple. What's going on? So they saw the difference there, and I guess because I started seeing the change on my weekly check-ins and then the photos that I used to take every week, that was also a massive driver. So I knew that, wait a minute, this it does work. So yeah, keep at it, keep going at it.
Yeah. And describe that like conversation that you're having with yourself in your head, because so much of this is a mindset, right?
Yeah.
Like I always say it's simple, but it's not easy. So how are you talking to yourself, and how are you getting yourself to the point where you're making decisions like that? Like, all right, I need 20 minutes to, get my steps in, and, stuff that you never in a million years would have imagined, that you would be doing as far as these habits. So talk me through that. Like, what's going on in your head, or is it Tom's voice in your head that you hear?
I think it's a bit of I think it's a bit of, oh, okay, I need to ensure that I lose some weight, so I'm not reporting back to Tom saying that I haven't lost anything, because the next question would be, Chan, what did you eat? Send me pictures of your food, or how much water did you take, how much did you sleep, etc. But it's there were days, like when I was walking out there were days when I used to walk out at 11 o'clock at night, and then I'll be messaging Tom at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night to say, oh, I've just finished my walk, and they'll be like, what are you being serious? Like you're walking at 11 o'clock at night. But it was the voice in my head was, wait a minute, this is something massive that I want to achieve. And I think it was in a drive. So where I'm saying where I was driven in terms of my career moving as well. So where you're if you're focused on delivering a result, um, I was very much driven to say, wait a minute, this isn't just for me, this is for my family. And that's where those thought processes came in to say, okay, I'm getting those compliments. Number one, I want those compliments. I want more compliments. Um, I've never got compliments about the way I look or the way I'm interacting or things were very new. Um, my original aim when I first started Autonomy is I want to shop in a normal clothes shop.
Mm,
And that was something where I wasn't able to walk into a JD Sports and buy a t-shirt from there because that t-shirt would not fit me. I would have to go into a bigger size shop and buy a bigger t-shirt. And when I started seeing the difference, and that could be from weight difference or even the body shape difference that I felt, and even how I felt generally, because I had a bit more energy, or I didn't I didn't crave that fizzy drink, or I didn't crave that chocolate, and that's the thing to say. I'll say that's what my driver was as well, to say, wait a minute, it's working, keep going. There's going to be there are tough days, and I'll say I've had some really tough days, really tough weeks, and even months, because that weight may not be shifting enough, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, but I'm doing everything. I'm getting in the right protein, I'm getting in the right exercise, or whatever it is. Why isn't it moving? But it's I think it's the goal that was there to say, no, I want to hit that goal. Whatever happens, that goal I have to reach, and then I'll stop at that goal.
yeah.
Um, and when I did reach that goal, oh my God, like I was like, yes, like finally, I have reached that goal. Um, and again, like I went on holiday during August with my family, and even on a holiday, so that was an all-inclusive holiday, unlimited food, eat as much as you want, drink as much as you want. And thing is, I knew in my head that, look, I'm going to a hot country, I will put on weight, but I was mentally ready to have that weight on and then come back and work harder to then remove that weight. And that's something that I think Tom supported me throughout that whole process really well, to say, look, Chand, this is normal. This is your normal life. There's nothing that you can do to stop this, because sooner or later you will stop that dieting phase. You will be a normal person again. Normal person as in, you will go out for a meal. You will have the fizzy drink again, etc. But that I guess is the process. But I think it was definitely thoughts of, wait a minute, if I want to cry, cry. Like there's nothing wrong with that. If I want to moan, moan.
Hmm.
Because I knew that my missus could see it as well in me as well, to say, oh, wait a minute, like, oh my God, like, you are losing weight. But yeah, definitely, like, there was just those little small winning bits that I thought, it's working, keep going, it's working, keep going.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So we're just about out of time. So last question for you, Chand, is if you had to put up a billboard for autonomy, just with one message or one tip for somebody like yourself, that wanted to lose the amount of weight that you lost, father of two kids or whatever it is, or it doesn't even have to be, just to the general population out there that's embarking on this journey, what message would you put on that billboard?
Oh, um, I would say something like, Um, the process works. Be patient and have a positive mindset. Um, and I'd say the mindset piece is the big bit on that. I'd say because being having a positive mindset will definitely be the driver in ensuring that you reach a result. Um, and I've tried so many little diets. I've tried shakes. I've tried all the standard ones, and then you do it for a month. You may lose a bit, and then you put it back on. But yeah, the I think the support that I got was great as well. So I'd say definitely have a positive mindset, and the process works.
Amazing. I love it. Chun, you're such an inspiration. So glad that I got a chance to speak with you today. I know I'm going to be hearing more and more great things about your journey moving forward, and I know a lot of people are going to get a lot of value from this. So thank you so much for your time, and looking forward to talking to you again soon, man.
No, thank you very much, Sirish.
Absolutely. Take care.
You too, mate. Cheers.
Cheers.